want to talk to you. No, goodness gracious. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. In this video, I want to talk to you about a theme that stood out to me while I was watching the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die. But I'll be honest, it's a theme that not a lot of us talk about or even really like to talk about. But if you stick around to the end of this video, I promise that you'll have a new perspective on this idea. So the theme that jumped out to me was sacrifice. Now, if you haven't seen the movie and you want to, click away now. Seriously, there's gonna be some big spoilers. Like, James Bond dies. Well, he's not killed, he actually sacrifices his life. He gives up his life to save the daughter and the woman he loves. Actually, it's way more complicated than that. There's like nanobot technology and an evil genius and kidnapping and a secret island. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? But you get the idea. He dies at the end of the movie. And honestly, that's kind of part of the definition of a hero, right? Heroes sacrifice part of their lives for the sake of others. You don't need to be a superhero to do this or a spy. In fact, there might be people in your life that you know that have sacrificed part of their life so that you can have something. It's what draws us to heroes in the end. You know, we love sacrifice. But here's the thing about our love of sacrifice. We love it as long as someone else is doing it. I don't know about you, but I love hearing stories about how people overcome challenging odds or almost impossible odds to achieve their goals. Yet I know in my life, if I set a goal, say to get healthy, I go to the gym and then halfway through my workout, I'm like, if I leave, will anyone really know? And in fact, if you're watching this video, I bet you love sacrifice as long as someone else is doing it as well. And here's how I know that about you. There are things in our life that need saving, but we won't save them. Maybe for you, it's a marriage or a relationship and you know it needs saving, but you don't want to be the first person to have the conversation. Maybe for others of you, your finances are in an absolute mess, but you don't want to be the one to put together a financial plan to pay off the debt or save some money. And here's the thing, if you've ever felt that tension, you're not alone. You're simply human. In fact, James Bond faced this tension that we all experience in the movie No Time to Die, when he had to decide, like, was he really going to sacrifice for the daughter and the woman he cared about? And this tension that we all feel when it comes to sacrifice is there's got to be another way. There's got to be a shortcut. There's got to be a quick fix. There's got to be some other way other than sacrifice, surely. And this tension actually surfaces in a conversation that Jesus had with some of his followers as they were walking down a road. And they're walking down and Jesus casually asks them a question. He says, hey, who do people say that I am? And the group of his disciples start to throw some ideas around. Well, some people say you're a prophet. Some people say you're a great teacher. Some people say you're a great moral teacher. Some people even say you're one of our Jewish ancestors reincarnated. And then Jesus kind of changes tact and he says, well, who do you say that I am? And Peter pipes up, because Peter would be one of those people who always piped up in these situations. He says, you are the Messiah, the Son of God. You're the Savior of the world. You're the Jewish Savior. Now, here's what you need to know about the first century idea of a Messiah in case you're not familiar. Because when Peter talked about a Messiah, in his mind, the picture that he had was like a political revolutionary or a warrior. The Jews were under oppression by the Romans. And so when they said Messiah, what they thought was someone who was finally going to break them free from their oppression, someone who would lead them in a revolution, and someone that ultimately they could ride on the coattails of. So it completely tripped Peter and the other disciples out when immediately after saying that, Jesus begins to tell them about how he's got to go to Jerusalem, be betrayed by the Jewish leaders and die a terrible death on the cross. And Peter kind of pulls Jesus aside and he says, hey, Jesus, that's not going to happen. You can't keep talking like this. And in that moment, Peter brings forth the tension that we all experience when it comes to sacrifice. He's articulating this idea that there's got to be an easier way. And isn't this really all of us? Whenever we have a goal, but it gets challenging, we want an easier way. I mean, that's why diet pills and self-help and pyramid schemes are so popular, because all of us think there's got to be an easier way. And if you've ever felt this and you're a Jesus follower, then what Jesus says next is going to be super helpful, but it's also super challenging. Because Jesus says, whoever wants to be my follower must turn from their selfish ways, pick up their cross, and follow me. And maybe you're someone who's like, well, I don't want to be a Jesus follower and I don't want to pick up my cross or do any of that sort of stuff. Well, what Jesus says after that is going to be super helpful for you, because what he says is this: Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. And in that moment, I think Jesus taps into this thing that James Bond finally understood right in the moment that he gave up his life, that sacrifice always brings life. When a sacrifice is involved, a new type of life always emerges. But here's the new perspective I want you to have before you walk away from this video. Sacrifice always brings life. You just have to choose what kind of life. See, here's the thing about sacrifice is in the moment, it seems like a sacrifice to go for a run or go to the gym. And it doesn't seem like a sacrifice to eat ice cream. It seems like a sacrifice to get up early. Doesn't feel like a sacrifice to sleep in. But when we choose not to do things in the moment, we sacrifice our future lives as well. See, you can't choose not to study in the moment and hope for great grades. You can't choose not to be at home with your children and hope that you're going to have a great relationship with them in the future. See, the things we do right now bring about some kind of life in the future. The question is, are you willing to sacrifice now or later? So to help you figure that out, I want to leave you with 2 questions. And the first one is this: what do you want to save? Is it a marriage, a relationship, finances? What is it you want to save? And the second thing is, what are you willing to sacrifice to save it? And as we start out this year, or maybe for you, the middle of the year, whenever you're watching this video, I don't want you to be doing this alone. So here's what I want you to do. Drop down in the comments below the thing you want to save, or if you're not comfortable doing that, send me an email at chris@beyondchurch.com.au or shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I would love to pray for you as you figure out what it is you want to save and sacrifice for in the future. Hey, thanks so much for checking out this video. There's some more videos you can check out around here. And if you want to stay up to date on everything that's happening at Beyond, subscribe, click the bell icon, and follow us on social media at Beyond Church AU on Facebook and Instagram.